Hello guys, today I'm going to be making my squash casserole. I've never used red onion before, but today I'm going to try this red onion, and I've never used parsley in it, and I've never made a cheese sauce to go in it. So today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I just hope it turns out right while I'm recording, because this is kind of a testing stage. These are the things that I have to make this squash casserole. I have 5 large size yellow squash. I have 3 medium sized garlic cloves. I have black pepper, a red onion, extra sharp cheddar, curly parsley, because I couldn't find flat leaf, that's what I usually use, and sharp cheddar. I'm probably not using both, but I just have these out just in case. Onion powder, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, and a can of evaporated milk to make the cheese sauce. So now I'm going to cut the tip end off of these yellow squash and get these cut up like I want them, and then cut up my onion and cut up my cheese and open my milk, cut up my parsley, and then I'll come back. I'm going to show you now how I cut up this squash, so you know. I just take the knife and I cut the tip off at the end. Try not to cut as much off because I want to save as much squash as I can. And then I cut it down the center. And then I just cut them up. And that's about it. And I may cut them, I probably won't though. I would have cut them like down the center again, but I don't think I'm going to do that today. I want them to kind of stay firm and not be so mushy in the dish. So I'm going to finish doing this and do the onion also, and then I'll be back. I'm going to season my squash. They are in my pot and I've cut them up, and the ones that were looking like they were going to be a bit too big, I cut them up a little smaller, because you want them to be able to cook all about the same time. You don't want some to be mushy and some to be still hard, so that's why it's important to keep them all about the same size. So first I'm going to add in a little onion powder. Just measure this according to your taste. If you don't like onion powder, don't add it. This is garlic powder, and the same applies to that. If you don't like it, don't add it. This is black pepper that I'm going to be adding in here. And we like a lot of pepper, so I'm going to go a little bit heavier on that. This is kosher salt that I'm adding in. According to your taste again. I'd say that's about a teaspoon maybe, or a little more. And this is Italian seasoning. And this is according to your taste also. I'm going to estimate that I probably have about a teaspoon in here. And I really like this all the time to release the flavors. And be careful when you use Italian seasoning. Any dried herbs, they're kind of strong, so don't go overboard with that. And this is about 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Drop that in there. And I just put the lid on like that and just let it soften, probably about 8 minutes to 10, just according to how your stove cooks. I'll come back in to check on it, but I don't want it really soft because, like I said, this is going to be a casserole and it's going in the oven with the cheese. And now I'm going to get ready to make my cheese sauce to go in this, and then I will be back. I forgot to mention that there is no liquid in this pot. I'm going to cover it, and it should make liquid on its own. If not, I'll add a drop of water in, according to how much I need, in order to, because I don't want it to be too watery when I put it in my casserole dish. So I'm going to see how much water it makes on its own before I decide how much water I want to add. So that's why I came back to tell you that. Okay, in this pot I have my can of evaporated milk. I'm going to melt these cheeses right here in this evaporated milk to make a cheese sauce to pour on my casserole. So that's what we're going to do now, and I'm going to, like I said, cut up my onion and garlic because I'm going to saute those before I put them in the dish, and I'll be back. Okay, now it is time to put the cheese in the evaporated milk. It's heating up, and now we can go ahead and put the cheese in, and that's half of that block of cheese. That's what I'm using in this to make my cheese sauce. So that's only half, and you just continue to stir it until it melts, and then you'll have a cheese sauce. Here are my squash. You can see how they are making liquid on their own. You see how there's water in here, and I haven't even put any water in this. So that's why I said I was going to see how much liquid it makes on its own before I have to add any more, because I don't really want this dish to have that much water in it when I get ready to make my put my cheeses and stuff in there. I don't want it to make water and be real soggy. So I'm going to keep letting this go until the squash tender up enough so I can put it in my casserole, and I'm going to do my cheese sauce. And I'm going to saute my red onion. I only did about half of that onion, and I'm going to saute that and my garlic together in some butter because I use butter in these squash. So I use butter to saute these onions with too. I usually use olive oil, but this time I won't be using olive oil. Okay, the cheese sauce the cheese has melted rather, and it's not thick as we want it, so we're going to go ahead and put that other half of that block of sharp cheddar in this. Well, extra sharp cheddar. That's what we used in this, the extra sharp one. So we're going to just go ahead and crumble it up in there and stir it, continuing to stir it until it melts in that. Here are the onions going here. I'm going to season the onions too with a little salt and pepper only. I'm not going to use the onion powder and all the rest of the stuff, but here's kosher salt going on those onions. And here's some black pepper going on. That's enough. Did I need your input to holler out that's enough? Here are the yellow squash. As you can see, they have cooked down a whole lot, and there's more liquid in there. So that's what I meant by I was trying to see if it was going to need any other additional liquid. It was on medium heat, and I'm going to poke a fork in these and see what they're like. I don't want them to be too soft, and I don't want them to be mushed too hard either. So, because they're going in this oven also, and I don't want them to just wilt away. So I think these are going to be alright. They've been going about 15 minutes maybe, or 12, something like that. So I guess this will be enough on these. I'm going to turn these off, and then I'll be ready to put my dish together. I'm going to add a pinch of sugar in this, just a pinch now. We're not making a dessert or anything, just a pinch so everything will come together. And I tasted them, and I think I need a little bit more salt too. So I'm going to add that now. That's what you have to do. You just have to cook and taste until it tastes the way you want it to taste. And I finished sauteing my vegetables there, my garlic and my onions, and I'm going to dump those in. And I'm not going to drain this liquid because it's not that much liquid. I'm going to taste it again before I dump anything else in here, just to make sure I don't need another little bit of sugar or salt or something like that. And then I dump in my onions and garlic and my cheese sauce. Okay, I'm going to dump in my sauteed onions and garlic. I usually use white onion, but what, not white, yellow, but I'm not going to use white or yellow this time. And here's my cheese sauce. Pouring it in there. Stir that up. Now I have this nacho taco cheese that I'm just going to try to use up. I got some cheese that I had in my fridge that I'm just going to use up. You can use whatever kind of cheese you want to use. You don't have to use the same kind I use. Swiss or whatever, the many kind of different cheeses that are out there. Take your pick. There's some parmesan that I had left over. Put that in there. You can see it's getting all gooey and cheesy right now. Already, before I even put it in the oven. Smells good too. Now I'm going to spray this circular dish with some Pam right here. Because I don't want it to stick. I don't know if it will or not. I just don't want to take any chances. And I put this casserole in that dish, and then I'll come back and show you me putting it in. Okay, I'm going to put this in the oven on 350, and I put it in that extra pan because it's kind of full and I don't want it to overflow and make a mess in the oven, so that's the reason why I have it in that other pan, to keep from making a mess. And I'm going to let this cook for about 25 to 30 minutes. Here I am, I'm back again, and just like I thought, it overflowed, as you see, and it would have made a mess in the stove, so I'm glad I did put that there. Now I'm going to cover the top with cheese, and it's been going about maybe 35 to 40 minutes. I was just trying to make it get a little bit firmer than it was, and that's what I was trying to do. That's why I was cooking it that long. So just adjust your time, and when it sets like you want it to set, then you go ahead and add your cheese on top. So that's what I'm going to do now. My cheese and parsley, I'm going to add that on top. Okay, this is some Mexican cheese, 4 cheese. This is all I have, so that's what I'm using. And that what I put inside of this was a half a bag of that mixed cheese that I put in before, and it wasn't even a whole half of a bag of that parmesan. So just put how much you want when it comes to the cheeses. We love cheese here, so I just go for what we know. And here's some chopped parsley. I really believe this is cilantro, because it does not smell like parsley when I got the chopping, but that's what the bag said that they had this in. Maybe they got it mixed up when they were packing it and put the wrong thing in there. I don't know, but it really smells like cilantro to me. Anyway, I'm still gonna use it either way, and we're gonna eat it because we like cilantro too. So if it is, oh well. I'm gonna let this cook long enough to melt this cheese on top, and I'll be back. Here it is, guys. I let it get a little bit brown on top, and the cheese has melted. Now I'm gonna let it sit and cool a little while before I get some out and show you what it looks like. See y'all in a little while. Okay, guys, if there was a lot of noise in the background when I first took the casserole out and was getting ready to put the cheese on top, that was my oven. It has a fan on it and it blows while it's on, so that's probably why you heard a lot of noise. I won't know until I edit this. And I was only saying that I was glad that I put this pan underneath this other circular pan, because it did overflow and I would have had a mess in the oven. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this out and let you all see what it looks like. There it is. It's all cheesy and yummy. And that's the finished product. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, and see you all on the next video. And please share. Bye.
That's all it's